You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, the coronavirus is actually spreading all across the world. Donald Trump's administration has come under withering attack because Trump has reportedly said that, he said that, hey, this thing is going to work itself out and has told his folks don't go overboard because he doesn't want it affecting the economy and his re-election chances. But on Capitol Hill, Republican Senator Kennedy out of Louisiana was not having it when it came to the Director of Homeland Security, who was not answering questions when it came to how they are working to combat the coronavirus. Watch this.
How many cases of coronavirus do we have right now in the United States?
Well, we have 14 cases plus an additional, I believe it's 20 or 30 some odd cases that we have repatriated back into the U.S. from a number of cruise ships.
And how many are you anticipating?
Again, we're working with HHS to determine that.
How many are you anticipating?
We do anticipate the number will grow. I don't have an exact figure for you, though.
Do you have an estimate? Is someone modeling that? Do you have any way of guessing?
Again, HHS, through their medical professionals.
Well, yes, sir, but you're head of Homeland Security.
Yes, sir.
And your job is to keep us safe.
Yes, sir.
Do you know today how many the experts are predicting?
We only know that, again, we anticipate those numbers to grow in the U.S. That's why we're making sure that our operations, again, at our airports, land ports, and elsewhere are flexible.
But you can't tell us how many your models are anticipating.
No, Senator. Again, I would defer you to the Health and Human Services for that.
Okay. Don't you think you ought to check on that?
We will.
As the head of Homeland Security?
Absolutely. And again, we have task force members that are working this on every day.
I'm all for committees and task force.
So we're coordinating with them to make sure that our operation.
You're the secretary. I think you ought to know that answer.
I understand that.
How is the coronavirus transmitted?
Through a variety of ways. Obviously, human to human, we've seen that. And again, we're making sure that those procedures, as they come into the U.S., are medically screened so that we can identify those
How
folks.
Is it transmitted?
A variety of different ways, Senator.
Tell me what they are, please.
Again, human to human is what we've primarily seen.
Human to human, how?
Being in the same vicinity. Physical contact is usually what we've seen from the medical cases that we've seen here in the U.S. We've had several, I think 2 to 3 human-to-human cases that have showed up here in the U.S. So it's those that are closest to those individuals that have that human contact.
What's the mortality rate so far, nationwide?
I believe it's
worldwide.
Worldwide, I believe it's under 2%.
How much under 2%?
I'll get you an exact figure. I'll check with CDC on their monitoring the worldwide mortality rate, and I can get that for you.
But you don't know the mortality rate today.
It changes daily, Senator.
Well, I understand that. What's the
it,
average since we discovered the virus?
Again, it's under 2%. It was as high as 3. Numbers were recalculated based on reporting from China.
Is it between 1.5 and 2?
It's between 1.5 and 2%.
Okay, what's the mortality rate for influenza over the last, say, 10 years in America?
It's also right around that percentage as well. I don't have that offhand, but it's right around 2% as well.
You sure of that?
It's a little bit, yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have enough respirators?
To my knowledge, we do. I'm focused on making sure that our operators at DHS make sure that they have the protective equipment. I know HHS, as part of the supplemental.
Well, we just heard testimony that we don't.
Testimony from?
In a briefing.
Okay.
So you're head of Homeland
Security. For medical professionals or for sorry, I don't understand the question.
You're head of Homeland Security. Do we have enough respirators or not?
For patients, I don't understand the question.
For everybody, every American who needs one who gets the disease.
Again, I would refer you to HHS on that.
Mr. Secretary, you're supposed to keep us safe.
My budget supports the men and women of the Department of Homeland Security.
You're the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Yes, sir.
And you can't tell me if we have enough respirators.
What I would tell you is that the budget, my budget, our operations are focused not only on the men and women of DHS, making sure they're protected to do their jobs, to screen individuals coming in. We're working with HHS, CDC, and their budgets
know the answer, do you?
to ensure that they have enough medical
Do
equipment.
we have enough face masks?
We, for the Department of Homeland Security, we do.
I'm not asking for the Department of Homeland Security.
Are you looking?
I'm asking for the American people.
For the entire American public?
Yes.
No, I would say probably not.
Okay. How short are we?
I don't have that number offhand, Senator. I will get that for you.
Okay. But I want to be sure I understand. Somebody
Yes, sir.
is doing modeling
Yes, sir.
on how many cases we're anticipating. You're
Yes, sir.
just not aware of that.
You're asking me a number of medical questions that
I'm asking you
CDC
questions
and
because you're
HHS
Secretary of
are
the
focusing
Department
on.
of Homeland Security, and you're supposed to keep us safe.
Yes, sir.
And you need to know the answers to these questions.
And
How far away are we from getting a vaccine?
in several months.
Well, that's not what we just heard testimony about.
Okay.
Who's on first here?
HHS is
What's
the
on
lead
second?
federal agency for the coronavirus response.
You're telling me we're months away. Vaccine. That's your testimony as Secretary of Homeland Security.
What I have been told by HHS and CDC, yes.
And have you probed that to make sure that's accurate?
Yes. We continue every day. We have task force meetings with those individuals and elsewhere talking about a number of these
Well, your
issues.
numbers aren't the same as CDC's.
Then I would certainly defer to CDC on our medical questions.
Well, don't you think you ought to contact them and find out whether you're right or they're right?
We're in contact with them every day on our task force.
But you don't know why
planning
you have
for
a
them.
discrepancy.
I would refer you to the CDC on
Mr.
specific
Secretary,
questions.
I'm going to hush here. You're supposed to keep us safe, and the American people
Senator-
deserve some straight answers on the coronavirus. And
Senator,
I'm not getting them from you.
I
That's
disagree.
all I have, Madam Chair.
Woo, Michael, Republican Senator Kennedy was not too happy. I would think that the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security might want to be able to have those answers because this thing could spread real fast.
Yeah, he obviously needs to tighten up his responses. There's no question about that. But I also think, Roland, as you know, I think there's some politics being played too by Senator Kennedy. He is a staunch supporter of 45. So I think he wants to show that he can be tough on the administration. And this is an easy issue to be tough on the administration on, related to health. 45 has already made some crazy statement that once it gets warm, it'll be better and everything will be fine. That's not what the coronavirus is all about. So I think there are a lot of different things playing on this. But I'm glad he questioned them. I'm glad he's pushing him to the wall. He should have the answers to the questions. Maybe they should have a different kind of panel up there. It seems to me they should also have the CDC head next to him. They should have HHS there as well. He's not capable of answering these kind of questions, whether he thinks he should or not.
Well, actually, here's why I'll push back on that, Kelly. The reality is this here. Senator Kennedy was tough on several of Trump's judicial nominees, and one of them, who was so dumb he couldn't answer questions, actually pulled out. And so even though he's a staunch Trump supporter, I mean, bottom line is, if I'm a senator, even if you're a Republican, you care about whether or not America is going to die because of the coronavirus.
Sure, and his questions were valid. I just don't think that was the specific person to ask questions to. I mean, you have a Surgeon General, you got heads of CDC, you have people who are actually working to try and solve this matter every single day, as opposed to being the acting Secretary of Homeland Security. So I don't even know how long he's been there, because it still says acting.
Well, hold up. Okay, first of all, you got to remember, Donald Trump is afraid of any of his people getting confirmed by the Senate. And so it's a whole bunch of acting people all around the administration.
And that's a fair point, but the fact of the matter remains, if he has the same type of track record as the rest of the secretaries, he might not even be all that well versed in this issue anyhow, regardless if it was coronavirus or not. Just as a caveat, I wish people would stop calling it the coronavirus, because the coronavirus is a general term. This actually has a specific strain of coronavirus, because in all actuality, the common cold is also a coronavirus. So right now, if you really think about it, what's happening right now is the common cold that, you just can't kick. That is actually truly deadly. That has no treatment for it. So that's just a caveat there.
Okay,
but again,
so what's the name of the strain?
PC something.
So what do we call it?
Let me check.
Well, that's why ain't nobody calling that, Kelly. P something something. They ain't calling it that.
Covoy-19 is the official name for this virus.
That's why they not calling it. You're not walking around going, what is it, cobalt? Who?
Covoy-19.
Who?
Don't play me.
No, I'm saying use like co-roll, something
Covoy-19.
dash 19. It's a good bet Kelly not gonna call it that. That's why they going with coronavirus.
The reason
I'm just saying.
I mean, but the more you say it, the more people will actually say it. So instead of just going for the easy route of saying something general.
Actually, they not.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a good bet they not. I'm just saying. You actually don't call something by a technical name. You do want to call something where it's easier for folks to actually remember. Melik, bottom line is this here. Donald Trump has been way too flippant about this here. He better take this thing seriously because it could reach a pandemic real quick.
Yeah, so two things. I think that I agree with Michael and Kelly. They actually should have had the Secretary of HHS or the Director of CDC there to really answer those more detailed questions. Whatever information that the senator got in a briefing, it's not guaranteed that the head of Homeland Security would have been privy to whatever information that he actually shared.
Actually, you're wrong because this Homeland Security actually said in that 6-minute clip that he's a part of the group that's actually sharing them information, so he would know.
Oh well. I mean, I didn't hear that part. But the second part that
that's what he said. No, he actually said it.
Okay. Well, the second part to my point here is that this is something that really happens in every administration. I think it was probably back in 2014, Obama was roundly criticized for his response to the Ebola crisis. If you remember, I think there were talks that, this was under wraps, but then there was a case where a nurse was treating a Liberian patient in Dallas, I believe. And so the administration got a lot of criticism for that. The administration itself admitted that it had been slow to respond to it. So I do know that this is something that happens before administrations.
No. Hell no.
What are you saying?
You had one nurse in Dallas. No. You had one nurse in Dallas. You just had 14 people with the coronavirus who were flown on a plane back into the United States, and the other passengers had no idea. And then it was the State Department that overruled the Centers for Disease Control. No, there's no comparison to that. And hold up, I'm not done. And then the Ebola outbreak did not hit multiple countries. Mm-hmm. We are at the point right now that they're saying they may only have 3 months to determine whether the Tokyo Olympics will actually take place this summer. This thing, unlike Ebola, this thing is impacting multiple countries very quickly. And so this is a much different situation than that.
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily. Yeah, I mean the mass effect of it, that may be different. What I'm talking about is how we criticize the federal government's response to these type of crises. And the Obama administration was criticized roundly for their response to the Ebola crisis. It didn't mean that the Obama administration was not actually doing things to, inform the public, but the Obama administration itself acknowledged that it was slow to respond. So my point is just saying that when it comes to these type of issues, the federal government generally is blamed for it. I don't think that, as far as the President Trump is concerned, I'm pretty sure that he was told that he can't go out there and create a crisis. If you actually look at what happened today when the CDC released their statement, when the CDC released when the CDC actually released a statement.
This is the same guy who used a Sharpie talking about a hurricane's going to hit Alabama, and the National Weather Service had to change their whole deal because they didn't want to get criticized. He's known to say stuff without checking with anybody, Melik.
Well, sure, but in this case, I have to give him credit for not driving the fear about it, because if you actually look at what he said, he essentially said, hey, everything is going to be okay. Now we know that as far as the administration is concerned, they're not going to, they're not going to say, well, everyone should be concerned that there's a panic, because those are things that really do create panic. What I was saying about the CDC, when they released their statement, when the CDC released their statement today, the market tanked. And so those are things that presidents really are concerned about, whether it's Donald Trump or any other president. Those are things that they take into consideration and how they respond to these type of crises.
Malik, the market tanked yesterday and no statement was released because the coronavirus, or I'm sorry, Coho-19, Kelly. This thing is actually a global issue, and so it goes beyond just the U.S. Bottom line is this here. The questions Senator Kennedy is asking are critically important issues, because if this thing spreads and it spreads quickly, you do want to be able to know how many breathing machines, how many masks. As he said, how are you gaming this out? And the reality is, as the acting Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, there's also Homeland Security is called securing the homeland. It's not just a military issue, because you also have to deal with chemical or biological warfare as well. So we'll certainly see what happens. But I appreciate Senator Kennedy, I don't care if he's a Republican, asking those questions, because they need to be answered.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all are always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they make these about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, that goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.